Help me give a warm welcome to our host, Dr. Haifa Maamar.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, and welcome today. Welcome to another session of Tech Tuesday. And today's topic is about women in tech. My name is Dr. Haifa Maamar. I'm the Education Director of Emerging Technologies here at Full Sail. And what a beautiful topic to talk about today, especially on International Women's Day. So happy International Women's Day to everyone, women here, and everyone who's watching us through YouTube and Facebook. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, ladies, for coming today. And we have a beautiful panel today, and I'm so happy to finally see you and be able to hug you and to talk with you about women in tech. So before we start, what about you introduce yourself? Chanae, you want to start?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Chanae Evans. I am a UX designer and Coverse Inc., an SAIC company. Good to meet everyone.
Thank you, Narie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Narie Kay, and I am a senior producer at Natural Motion.
Thank you. And Margaret?
Hello, I'm Margaret Haag, and I'm a design lead at a biotech company based in San Francisco called Invitae.
Thank you so much. So today's session, the way we're going to do it, I'm just going to be asking questions for our panels. And then for those of you, if you have questions, please, later on, we're going to have a Q&A. And for those who are on YouTube or on Facebook, feel free to send your questions through the chat. We'll be able to get those questions later on during the Q&A. So I wanted to start first, since we're talking about women in tech, and I am a big, I'm all about technology and women in technology. I feel that we need more women in tech. So I want you to start talking about, let's talk about your current role at your company. And if you can give me an idea about how many females right now, percentage of females, even if you don't know the right number, percentage of females, specifically in tech in your company. So Chanae, you want to start?
Good question. Well, first off, happy International Women's Day. It's great that we're having this talk. At my company, I would say it's pretty low percentage. There are women that I work directly in that are developers, front end and back end developers, but it's like around 20%.
20%?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. And they're in tech specifically?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So I also am not exactly sure about the percentage of the women in the company, but also so the parent company is Zynga, and globally we have quite a few women sorry, I'm jet lagged, you guys. I'm so sorry.
No worries, Narie.
I've been struggle busing all day today, so I apologize in advance. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Zynga actually has been one of the first companies where there are several lead producers, executive producers, lead tech directors as well, who are women. So that I actually got chills just saying that. So it's one of the first companies that I've been at that has that prominent and that leadership. So I'm super excited to be a part of that company. And it's also just a testament of how many of us are making it through. We're pushing through and we're making it up there, and we're able to kind of just finally be at that top level. So it's really, really great to hear. And then even on our C board or C-suite, the advisory board, there are also a lot of very high-level women on that as well. So
amazing.
It's really
amazing.
Nice. Yeah.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, that's great. That's great to hear. So I've shared in both worlds. So working for Capital One previously, I'm going to tell you the story. So we were in Chicago, and I went for kind of an internal conference. So we have an office there, and I'm out to dinner with everyone, and someone across the table goes, "So, Margaret, what is it really like being a woman in tech?" And they did that because I looked around and I was the only woman out of 20 people at that dinner table. And I was like, oh, well, I guess this is what it's like, always kind of that was more of the vibe. I think at Capital One, although there were a lot of women, it was kind of we were consistently outnumbered. flip that, at the company I work for now, I will say like someone else that I reached out for like an open position was like, I am literally so impressed about the number of women in leadership at your company. And I was like, oh my gosh, like he's absolutely right. Like I work with tons of women. My boss is a woman. My partner, you know, like my other partner designer, she's a lead. She's a woman, you know,
That's
like there's
amazing.
So many, to the point where when I was talking with my boss, she goes, yeah, we should probably hire like more men. We were like, oh shoot, are we like flipping the pendulum, you know, the other way? But yeah, it's been really fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's been difficult to get more women interested in technology, and sometimes, like, especially in big companies, sometimes like it's difficult to see women. But like now that like I'm hearing from you, Narie, and from you, Mark, and hopefully, like, yeah, they're gonna be like it's a sign that there are more women interested in technology, going into technology, studying technology. So, what got you interested in technology? Why did you join, start learning about technology?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I graduated from the Digital Art and Design program. The best program, I would say.
Seconded.
But yeah, so I went into the workforce with a design background, and how I got into UX is like it's a good cross between the very technical side, but also the creative side. And so that's where I really fell in love with, and just how applicable it is to everybody's lives, and being relevant with emerging tech and just the landscape that is, pandemic days and stuff like that. So yeah, just really got my foot in the door first at Amazon, and that's like a big heavy tech company.
It is.
Yeah. And then working in, I transitioned to Samsung, which is also e-commerce tech, and Microsoft. And then here I am at like SAIC, a very science data driven company. And I just really thrived in this environment. And I do recognize that there is a movement and an interest of women in tech, but also through my journey, I look around and it's, there are a lot of women in tech, in my experience, but when you look upwards, it's less and less. And so that's why this conversation is very, very important to have, so we can all get together, make that momentum, keep pushing that momentum, and have those results when we look at, people's progression in careers. But yeah, that's how I got involved in tech. A non-linear story.
So my start was very interesting as well. I actually graduated from Texas A&M with an undergraduate degree in English literature. I first started as journalism, but then midway through, the university was like, no, we don't want journalism anymore. So they killed the program. So I was like, great, what am I going to do now? And with an English degree, you can basically do literally anything, be a lawyer, historian, whatever you want to do. But I went into teaching, so I taught for 2 years, and ever since I was little, I always wanted to be in video games. Ever since I started playing Galaga and Donkey Kong, Final Fantasy, all of that stuff, I was like, I want to be in games. And then when I saw Final Fantasy X, I was like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. So I was like, I was trying to figure out how am I going to do that, because I have dysgraphia, which is dyslexia with numbers. So I knew that I could not do any math. And then obviously design also requires a lot of math as well. So I was like, oh man, I'm really shooting myself in the foot here. And the most artistic I'm going to get is stick figures. So I was like, can't do that. So I kind of was just biding my time until I found some place where I could try to figure out how to get into games. And lo and behold, Full Sail. And I was just like, yes, this is my chance. So went to the master's program in game design. And way back then, it was actually just the one program, more focused on production. And so I just kind of did that, got some certifications, and then that's how I got into video games. So, and in tech in general. So it's been a wild ride, but super, super fun. And I've been saying this the whole time, but I do something that I call a jobby. It's a job that's also my hobby. So,
I love this word.
Yeah. Hobby. So I consider myself to be very lucky. So I'm like, yes, this is awesome. So yeah, so thank you, Full Sail.
Thank you. What
Amazing.
about you, Margaret?
Yeah, so 2 things I want to say. Chanae, I am literally so proud of you.
Thank you.
She graduated not that long ago. She came out the gate like working for Amazon. Like, look at that. Like, it's insanely impressive.
She is amazing.
Yes, I am so like every day I'm like so proud of her. It's awesome. And that's so funny. I have a journalism degree as well. Yeah, when you were talking about that, I'm like, no way. So yeah, I did the same thing. Went to a traditional college. Went to Penn State. Did that whole thing. Part of my story is like, they only accepted 9 people a year into their graphic design program, and you had to have a portfolio to get in, you know? Like, it's weird. Like, I have to have a portfolio to, like, pay you to teach me about something else. It was just really wild, you know? They were like, you like writing, and you like taking photos, going to journalism. So I did that. I worked in a really crappy job with, like, cubicles for 2.5 years, you know? Like, it was just not my thing. Actually, I worked for a student loan company, and then a parent wrote in who had a loan for their kid. So I was like doing fancy emails, you know? If you email a company, that was me, like replying to you. And I looked up like their account, and it was, they had a loan for Full Sail. And I was like, what the is Full Sail? So I go to the website, and it was back in like some portion of the 2000s. And it was, I'm going to date myself here, but it was a Flash website that animated, and it had music, and I was like, that place looks legit. Like, I want to go there. And so I did, you know, like kind of at like 26 maybe, like just packed up everything and came to Florida, you know, and my job wasn't even a job then. Like, that's how crazy, like, everything has shifted. You know, when like the iPhone came out, like everything, you know, just kind of like took off. And I think when I was completing the DAD program, maybe the iPhone came out then, and it was just so new, and we were all like really experimenting with it. And I had no idea that this was going to be my future. It's just kind of something that evolved over time. So I had jobs at like different agencies, you know, like worked at creative places, and I was doing websites, but I knew I really wanted to get into mobile, and there was a connection. I had Foursquare, and when I was living in Orlando, sorry, this may be a long story, but I was living in Orlando. When I was living in Orlando, I stole his mayorship of Planet Fitness, and then he ended up adding me as a friend, right? So lo and behold, he actually went to Full Sail too. Yeah, and he was like working at the Golf Channel and was trying to get me in there, and it never happened, right? Because you had to have like a pretty steep code base back then. Like, you had to be both, right? So we kept in contact for years. We never met in person, right? I was always just sharing my work and stuff, though, like doing stuff on the side, free time, you know, like just practicing my craft. And no kidding, one day he was like, we have a designer position open up here at USA Today, and I think you should talk to my boss. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, I'll talk to him. So I talked to him, and then they brought me down for an interview. And I interviewed. Me and 7 dudes sat around me, you know, but I like had it together. And then I remember this thing, somebody was like, oh, if you want the job, like you should do something to like impress them. And I had no mobile experience. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I took a side project I was doing, and I made an app, you know, and I faked it. And I went in, and I was like looking at what other people were doing. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. So I was like, all right, maybe I could. Literally, I did the interview. I had everything together. I was like running them through all kinds of stuff, like making jokes. You know, I was super uncomfortable, literally like how I feel right now, you know, up here. And 48 hours later, they called, and they were like, you got the job. Do you want the job? I was like, oh, you know, like freaking out. I was like, literally my life changed, you know, in a matter of 3 days. So yeah, I've been riding that train.
That's a beautiful story, Margaret.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful story. So I'm going to share my story as well, because like I've been in technology. So I was actually, I'm going to date myself.
Let's do it. We're here, you know.
We're here together. So back when I was like 6 or 7 years old, back and when they had the Macintosh, and please don't ask me about my age. But anyway, so my dad was working for a company, and sometimes he needs to go work at night. And he would take me with him. And I was so impressed. I saw this thing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I really want to learn more about this. And then he will let me play games, or he will show me. And I'm a fast learner, so right away I will be like, yeah, but what's this? But what's this? I was 7, but the good thing about it is that he let me explore. He let me touch, and he let me try things. So slowly I started also like loving games, technology, anything that is related with a computer. I'm like all about it. Then when it came, so I was like more interested. Now I want to learn more. So I was interested in programming, and then back then it was Pascal, and I'm like, okay, let's learn Pascal. And I was 11 when I started learning Pascal, and it's all about like seeing how the computer is talking to you. Like you're typing something, and the computer is bringing back the information to you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like oh, I'm talking to a machine, and so when it came to going back to college, I was like, no, I want to go learn this. And that's how I joined the computer engineering. I went to a traditional university, but like my background is computer engineering. But and I was always like, I always wanted. I live technology. I breathe technology. So when I joined Full Sail, I was like, yes, oh my gosh, like I joined for the Mobile Gaming Masters. I was teaching their capstone back then. And it's funny because my PhD was on like it was simulation, but one of the application is gaming. So I was like impressed. It blew my mind. I was like, do we have gaming programs? How come? And development, like not like usually when we're talking gaming, like it's more design, but like development. So when I joined here and I saw like everything that we do here in technology and in emerging technology, I was like so impressed, and I'm so glad we're here. But every time I reflect, it goes back to people that helped me throughout my journey, my parents who believed in me, and they let me study technology, people at the university, my advisor, everyone believed and helped me. And even here at Full Sail, even throughout my journey, either at Full Sail, like my professional journey, I always had mentors who helped me like throughout my journey. So I wanted to know, it's not easy to be a woman in tech. Having a mentor is really important because we can always, we're all women in tech, and sometimes it can be very difficult on us. So did you have any mentors that helped you, or like any mentors growing up that like facilitated this journey for you?
Yes. Can I go first? I still do have a mentor, and she's amazing. It's funny because, when we're little, it's not to say that tech is discouraged in women, but it's definitely not encouraged.
Yeah, because usually they look at it as like, it's like it's more for boys.
Yeah. And it's, again, if we have an interest that is, traditionally not feminine, it's just kind of, people wouldn't stop you, but it's just, you'll get those kind of microaggressions like, oh, don't you want to do X, Y, and Z instead? And it's just kind of like at every step of your growth as an adolescent, you kind of get that. And so by the time you're in a place to make a choice, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't pursue something that I'm good at because that's just not, the powers that be think that I shouldn't pursue that. But anyway, that's kind of a side story there. But I do have a mentor currently still, and that's because I've joined like a lot of UX support groups out there. And kind of the pandemic brought a lot of bad things, but the silver lining, one of the silver linings is that like a lot of meetup groups are online now, and you don't have to physically be there. So I joined like every UX group, regardless of time zone, and started being involved. And that's how I got a mentor. There's a lot of mentorship programs, and I've had that relationship with her for like 3 years now. And she's very great. So
that's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think I've been very lucky. Robin Coleman was probably my first.
I was going to say, it must be Robin.
Gotta love Robin. Yeah. So Robin Coleman, who is a professor here for those who are not in the Master's Game program, she's just absolutely wonderful, and I love her to death. So she's definitely like one of my first mentors, right? She just kind of really made me feel comfortable in myself, right? It's like this whole time, like you said, it's just those microaggressions that you grow up with, and you're just like, man, how do I shake this off? So she kind of really helped encourage me to kind of own who I am as a person. And then throughout my career, I've been able to be very lucky. I feel like it's just like they just fall into place. Like it's so beautiful. But again, like with Zynga, there are so many strong women producers there. It's like, who do I pick from? Like who can I talk to? And they're just all so welcoming. And of course, they just want to share knowledge with you. So it's just amazing and super supportive. And There's a really strong mentorship program at Zynga as well. So, I mean, it's literally pick of the litter, and it's just, I couldn't ask for anything more. Again, because I have the dysgraphia, I actually sought out a female engineer because I just was like, I need somebody to help me understand what is happening here. And as someone who's a producer, you do need to be able to talk to a lot of different disciplines. So she really helped me for a really long time, just kind of get my bearings and own it, really. So, yeah, been
That's
really
amazing.
lucky.
That's amazing. What about you, Margaret?
That's great. All right, mentorship. Okay.
And it's okay if like you didn't have any mentors. I
do. Okay, so I'm gonna just point her out. There's like a lovely woman in the back there, and that's my mother. So I come from a line of so it's my grandma, it's my aunt, it's my mom, and then it's me. You know, like there's a kind of a line of strong women. And my mom, like, not to blow up her spot, but she raised me on her own, like while I was young, and that was super impressive to me. You know, that like someone could do that. Like obviously not at the time, or probably when I was 16, because you know. Hormones, right? But later in life, I appreciate her a ton. And I think what helped, although she doesn't always agree with my decisions, I feel like she always supports me, you know, and like stands there and says like I basically grew up thinking I could do anything, you know, and I don't like that people would grow up not thinking that they could do anything, because literally you all deserve that support. Like if no one is in your life telling you that right now, like I'm going to be there. And if you need me to be there to reinforce that for you, I will. But you can do anything, like anything you want to do, right? And that means it's limitless at that point. And I'm going to be like really honest. A lot of my mentors have been men. And that's okay, you know, because like that's kind of like where I am. Like that has been where I've been in life, because this whole women in tech thing is like still pretty new, you know? And as we're talking about it, like there are still struggles, right? So like I had to learn from men because like men were there. However, like I feel like we're in there just crushing the ceilings, you know, for everyone coming behind us. Like we're all here for you. What else was I going to talk about? I think I had like one more thing. We talked about this the other day. So I'm just going to be like really honest. There was a Twitter feed that happened months ago, right? And I think over the summer, and someone had asked a really simple question, and it came from a good place, and they said, well, like, why aren't there more women in tech? And that's how they asked it. And he was asking the question just so pure-heartedly, like really asking the question. And the responses were horrifying. Is because women aren't smart enough. Is because they can't do this. Is because they can't code, right? And I saw that feed. I saw all of the comments, and it was heartbreaking, because I was like, we work next to these people, right? And I have to go to work tomorrow and work next to these people. Not that I knew them, right? But I know they exist now, you know? Like I know this is how some people are really thinking about me. And I will tell you, it gives me a lot of drive to be better than them, you know? And to show up for everybody else. So I don't know. I feel like I just went on a really long rant. But yeah, I don't know. I believe in you. Go out there. Don't let anyone dull your sparkle.
I love this message.
My favorite thing to do is when I talk to somebody who thinks like that, and I can see them be like, oh shit. And I'm like, yeah. Expletive.
Can I also add though?
Yeah, no,
I also recognize that, you know, there's not just women in here, and I want to applaud, you know, everyone that showed up, because in the workplace, like you too will be our advocates, and that's how we level the playing field, right? It's yes, we exist. Women in tech exist. So when people are like, oh, where are the women? It's like, we're here. You just don't see us or recognize us as equals to to push us in higher positions. But, you know, the conversation is not just for women. This conversation is for everybody in the workplace. So
yes, and I agree with you, Chanae. When we're talking about mentors or women in tech, and I agree with you, Margaret. I didn't have just female mentors. It started with my father, and even my advisor at the university. He was a man. Having
Jet lag.
Just checking.
No, I'll just say that. Anyway, it's not a woman.
We're all jet lagged. We're all jet lagged.
So, yeah, having mentors, like it's not necessarily women. Yes, us as female will always be here for all of you, but even you guys, you can be mentors for your friends. You can be mentors for your daughters later on, for your sisters, for anyone. So, women, female students, please come to us, and please don't ever think that you can't do something. I agree with you, Margaret. Even with my own daughters, impossible does not exist in my dictionary. Everything is possible. There is no such a thing that is a male word versus a female word. No, or a toy for boys versus this is a toy for boys. And no, then you're gonna get that, and you're gonna learn how to play with that. This is how I am, and this is how I was raised. And for me, it's. I want you to understand also sometimes technology can be very intimidating for female. And robotics, it's like, no, this is for boys. No, there is no such a thing that is for boys or for male. We can do it. You can do it. You just believe in yourself. If you have an idea, just come and share with us. Find someone who can help you. Believe in yourself and go do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say absolutely. And okay, the reason I left the previous company, one of the reasons, right? I was passed over for a promotion 4 times. 4 times. And then the last time I was passed over for the promotion, they asked me to take on more work. I was already doing more than enough, which is typically what we do, and then get passed over for promotions. I was like ahead of a campus recruiting thing, right? I was ahead of a COP, like a community of practice for visual design within Capital One Design, right? And then I was also managing my work lane, doing my own work, managing 2 direct reports, and now I was also I was leading other people who had other managers, and they were then asking me to take on other people to lead another lane of work on top of what I was doing. And I was talking to my boss, and they said the promotion's not going to happen this year. And you know what I did? The next week, I put in my 2-week notice. And they didn't think I was going to leave, right? Because I was part of that culture. But I was like, I'm done. You know, it's like dating someone who's really toxic for you, and you like break up and you're like, it'll be better this time. You know, like we've worked out all our issues. I think at one point I realized like I wasn't using them for, I did use them, right? I used them to like essentially grow my career and get really smart. Like they did a ton for me, like, but in the same time, they weren't like returning the favor anymore. And I was like, I'm not here anymore. Like I've outgrown you. And now I have to say goodbye, and which was for good reason, right? Because I ended up at a place that, like, I will say when I left, stress. I was like, I feel like I'm floating, like, you know what I mean? And I didn't realize how much of that was hanging on me until I left. And you have that power, right? Nobody has the control over you. I think I thought that, right? I thought, oh, like, what am I going to do if I leave here? It's my safety net.
It's because we feel comfortable too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You do get comfortable, and I think that's what they do. They like. I want to say, I'm like, oh my gosh, the Capital One lies you or something. And it's cushy, right? It's great benefits. Like, it's pretty chill, that whole thing. But yeah, I'm talking too much. I would like someone else to talk.
It's fine. Anyway, yeah, I agree. So how did Full Sail prepare you to be a woman in technology? Do you feel that it helped you to be ready for the workplace?
I'm smiling.
Versus if you went to a traditional university. What's that? Sorry?
I'm smiling because I have a story.
Okay, well, share with us.
It's definitely prepared me. I mean, I can't speak for other degrees, but in my degree, we have a lot of group projects. And a lot of times I was the only woman in the class, which is rare for DAD, but I was the only woman in the group. And so many times, because I'm very type A, and I need to have an A in these classes. There's no excuse for anything less at the time. But anyway, the word aggressive kept being thrown around. And I can't, I'm sure a lot of the women on stage can identify with, what does that mean when you're, when you're just trying to voice an opinion or trying to keep, people on course, and you feel like you're herding cats and just really driving the conversation. These negative stereotypes get thrown around that, oh, you're aggressive and blah, blah, blah. And, when you're young, you're trying to you are experiencing those microaggressions at a young age, and you're not even in the professional world, but also you're learning you're growing thick skin, but also you're learning how to drive a group conversation towards a common goal, which is a project. And you're just learning a lot of leadership skills, and just, I don't know where I'm going with this, but you're already experiencing those kinds of biases already. So when it happened in the workplace, I'm just like, but I'm just trying to get work done. Mm-hmm. And so we did. And now I'm aggressive. And I'm okay with that.
So for
That's an interesting panel today.
It's great.
Let's see. So the classes all were very practical. So I think that I took a lot from that as well. So being able to actually be in the group projects and, do the everyday classes and work with the technology that we had, that really helped a lot. I think when I graduated, I was one of the very few candidates amongst interviewees that actually had experience with Handsoft and Jira and Trello and all these other project management things that we do.
Very important.
Yeah. So I think because I was able to put that in my proficiencies or whatever, it was definitely one of the top reasons why I would get called back so quickly. I mean, I would put it out there and next day, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks. So yeah, I would say that having the ability to get your hands on and work through and work with the programs that we use in our everyday careers, that really helps give you a huge leg up.
Thank you. What about you, Margaret?
Wait.
How did Full Sail help you? How did Full Sail prepare you?
I was like, getting lost in all their stories. I share the same sentiment with everybody else. I mean, when I went here, they still called it full male. That's just kind of how it was, which was actually surprising because my graphic design class was actually, there were 6 of us, I think it was 3 women and 3 men, from what I remember. What are we talking about? Oh, the aggressive thing. I love that she talked about that because that's so on point. Because if we do it, oh, you're leading with emotion. God, she's so this, that, and the other thing, And if Tom did that, you'd be like, yeah, Tom, way to really lead that meeting, And they'd be all patting him on the, patting him on the back for it, It's not fair. You experience it all the time. I don't know what I'm doing. I have literally no idea what I'm doing right now. But I think I'm done.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I think for me, it's what happens is Full Sail mimics what's in the industry. We're working in a male-dominated field, so and then probably that's how we're experiencing. Probably you went through Full Sail, so it's you experienced that. It's the same image, you were in a cohort that is male-dominated. So you just had to learn your way, how to communicate with them, negotiate, manage them, team management. So it's So it will get you.
Yeah. I just realized I used the word Tom, and that was in no relation to Tom Todia. Just so we get that on the record.
Okay. For the record.
I know.
I do want to say, we obviously learned the technical skills going through the courses, but, our experiences is also, learning the soft skills, which is just as, if not more important. And
it is very
especially
important.
dealing with those kinds of, microaggressions and experiences. It's an art to navigate through, because you still want to be the team player and don't want to mess up with the dynamic and stuff. But also you need to learn how to deal with those things in a way that people still respect you for. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I can expand on that, it's actually really good for you to ask those kinds of questions in interviews as well. Like, you can ask them what kind of mentorship programs are going on, like what is there like a women in whatever company name group or things like that. Like, you can ask those questions, and if they don't know what to tell you, then definitely probably not a great idea to be there. So if that is something that is one of your top foundations for going to work at some place, that's a really good question to ask. Like, don't be shy about asking those questions, because you don't know what you're getting yourself into, right? I was lucky, so when I first interviewed at Zynga, it was all women that interviewed me. So it was like super candid. We had very frank and honest conversations about what kind of company Zynga was. And they have absolutely lived up to everything that they told me in the interview. And it's probably one of the first times that I could say that company didn't lie to me. So don't be afraid to ask those kinds of questions. It's well within your right. You are interviewing that company just as much as they are interviewing you, and like, live in that power.
100%. I agree with you, but sometimes, like in smaller companies, probably they don't have something like this. So maybe ask the question also and see what kind of answers you get. That will give you an idea about like the mindset of the company. But please don't feel intimidated. Just be strong. We all went through this. You can go through this. Okay, so I'm going to open it up to the audience and to our friends also on YouTube and Facebook. So if you have a question, feel free to raise your hand. Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Karina, but I like being called Kat. And I'm currently in the film program. I know you guys are in tech, but I wanted to ask, as someone who's going into film, I always have had like big dreams. I grew up in a small town, so it was like the small town mentality type of thing. It's like, why are you doing this if, it's not very safe for you to go into this field? And that always like discouraged me to like, it's like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough because I'm a woman or something like that, Is there, I guess, what's a good way to be motivated, or like something that you guys use to be motivated and to like basically like prove people like, hey, I could do this?
Sure. So if I can go first.
Sure.
I always say to myself, I can create a human, so I can do effing anything.
Oh, yeah. Oh, amazing.
That's what I tell myself. I'm like, I can grow a human. I can literally do anything. So that's what I tell myself. If I'm ever feeling like, oh, I'm not worthy or whatever, I'm like, you know what? I can grow humans.
I identify with your story. I too am from I'm from Hawaii, but like I'm from a very small town on like an island nobody cares about. So, and it's hard because you look around and there's no example, like especially a person of color, like a minority. You look around and you don't know anyone in positions like that in Hawaii or wherever, in a small town. But you don't know what a successful person looks like because you don't know if that industry even exists where you are. But the good thing is, again, like there are communities out there that are more than welcome for new talent, for new people, interested minds. Just join them and be fearless and ask all the questions and ask us. Like, we're more than happy to connect you to where you want to go.
Yeah, I'm actually like Hispanic, so that's also like a big thing. I'm like, oh my God, this is so scary to step into like film and be Hispanic at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I share in the same. I grew up in a small town as well, where they like make bologna and there's like Amish people everywhere. So I get it. But I feel like, if you don't mind, I say you're here, and that, man, I should have worn this shirt because I like bought this shirt the other day and it said "show up," and I feel like you're doing that. Just keep doing it. Like I used to cry in the bathroom all the time, at work. But I would like wipe myself off and show up, and sometimes it sucks, but I'm essentially going to think you're here at Full Sail. You're going to love what you do. Right.
Yeah.
Like show up even when it's hard, sometimes even when you don't want to, and power through it. Sorry, is that?
No, you're good.
It's good.
Okay. I was like, wait, is this awful advice? No,
It's good.
I was gonna say lean on people, and then lean on people. You know, like she was saying. Well, they're both saying like lean on people who are there for you, right? Your like circle. There's always like you can always go home kind of thing. Like you gotta have those like good people around you. You know, your people. I do it here. We're like, sorry. You're really busy this week, and we just met. But like her, you know what I mean? I was like sticking to her like glue like the past couple of days because like she's my people. You know, you need that.
Yeah, I really like you. You're like so inspiring.
Oh my gosh.
I related so much.
Oh
to you,
my
by the
God,
way.
that's so nice.
Yeah.
Can I give you a hug?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Great.
Oh, God.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do it. You can keep going. Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Can you hit me up?
My name is Alice. I'm in the Game Design Master's program. I'm the only girl in my program. There's 15 of us.
Nice. Nice. Yoo-hoo.
I'm also, I picked a different track compared to everybody else. I thought that, I could teach myself, how to, code, and I can teach myself how to work with Unreal Engine and all of that. What I can't teach myself is UX and research. And I went into that thinking that, I completely changed the direction of what I wanted to do because I studied art, I studied digital art, I studied traditional art for 4 years and many years before that. And I came here because there was nothing I could do with it. There was nothing that I was able to do with the experience that I got from the school. And now that I'm going to the school, I actually get a lot of this, that I'm a little aggressive. Whether it's I'm doing projects with my classmates or I'm working at the lab, and I know sometimes they say it as a funny thing that I'm being a little aggressive, but I'm trying to take, I don't know what the term is.
Don't change yourself for
Yeah,
it's just something they need to get over.
I want to do things, and I'm not gonna let somebody else tell me, hey, you need to be less aggressive about this. You need to be no. I'm gonna say how it is. Unfortunately, I guess not everybody accepts that. But my question is how do I stand out compared to all the other? How can I stand out compared to all the other UX researchers? Compared to all the other researchers in general? How can I make myself stand out in the field? I don't have previous experience. My experience is in art, but I want to know how I can make myself look better in the eyes of the people who are hiring me.
Mm-hmm. Be really effing good at what you do. Like for me, it's super simple. I don't like saying this because I'm not like a person to not be humble, but I'm really good at what I do, and my work like shows that, right? And so I'm able to knock other people out, of the running because I'm that good. And then I get that good because I pay attention to what people are better than me doing, and then I try to make my stuff look that good, and I never stop practicing my craft. Never.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Just like if confidence in what you are already doing and like being able to really speak to that speaks volumes, right? Because there can be anybody whose work looks really good and that's great, but if they can't speak to it or if they can't walk you through how they got there, I think that's where the value is, because it just shows me that you're really proficient in your profession. So that's probably the other thing that's the most important, because if you can talk like somebody who knows what they're doing, everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah, all great points. The other one I want to, emphasize is like stay curious. Like keep your ear to the ground, because especially in the world of UX and user research, that is changing on a day-to-day basis with technology, with how we interact with things, with the changes of our lifestyle. It's an industry that you'll never learn everything of. You'll never be like you'll be like one of the greats, but you'll never hit a point where you're like, I've learned enough, I'm good, like I'm the master of it. So always keep your ear to the ground, keep connecting with people and relationship building. Like that's just as important. And you'll grow with those people in the industry, and that's how you stick out. Yeah.
Yes. And that reminded me you both reminded me of something. Using so especially in research, using your insights that you've gathered, understanding how that has then impacted something that was built, and then understanding like how, like essentially what does that data look like on the end of it, right? Because you aren't like just part of the beginning, like you're informing what's coming behind that, you know? So like having a full picture of like how your work has essentially impacted things that are out in the world is awesome.
And don't forget that your perspective is also very unique. You know, whatever your life experience has been and like the way that you've gone to where you are today, like all those things are still unique, and that can make you stand out as well.
I definitely didn't think that I was going to be going completely different direction, going from art to numbers, which I don't like numbers. If you ever met any artists, we don't like numbers. We like drawing.
I did the opposite. I was in international trade regulations, and then I pivoted to art. And my whole family was like, "You want to go back to school for art? Like, what are you doing?" You know. So
hey, I already disappointed my family when I went into art. So this is a step up. At least they can now brag about their kid being in a master's program.
Yeah.
What I would say is that with technology, it changes every day. As Chanae said, keep learning and keep adding skills, because that will help you build your portfolio, will help you or will make you different like from others who are already like have the same skills as you, or like have kind of the same background, but like if you add extra skills, that will be differentiates you from others.
Definitely. I've been trying to stand out as much as I can because it's difficult.
But you can do it.
You have to. You have to if you want to get somewhere.
Yes, you can do it, and
so
you have no choice.
Seeing you guys is very inspiring, and I love talking to you, Narie. I already got to meet her a little bit before because I snuck into one of the. I wasn't even supposed to be there. I just snuck into one of the panels that they were doing a little earlier in the classrooms. But thank you guys.
Thank you. Next question.
Hey there. So I'm running the YouTube chat, and we have several questions that I'm going to try to lump together. So we have students from several degree programs, and they're interested in how any of these skills are at play in any of your everyday lives. So we have mobile development, graphic design, public relations, and social media management. So we're just curious of any of those things, if they play a role in any of your everyday lives at work.
Yes. Yes.
Can you expound upon that?
Yes.
Quick answer.
Especially in
yes.
tech. But go ahead, Chanae.
Oh, I feel like I'm always going first. Sorry. Yeah. I don't remember the long list of those degree programs, but
I think mobile development, social media, graphic design.
Yeah, I mean, especially for UX, right? We're designing a product that product has graphics involved, has interfaces involved. So you're designing assets, you are putting it out in the market. There's marketing involved, there's writing involved that a lot of people don't realize. So it overlaps a lot, especially in my profession.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that's it. Everybody's leaving. I'm sad. She said exactly everything I was going to say, so.
Okay, cool. Do we have more questions?
Hi. So my question was, is there anything in addition, any certificates or courses I should take in addition to my degree at Full Sail that could help me build street cred and stuff like that?
What's your degree program?
I'm thinking of going into media communications, and then
okay.
I'm also considering cybersecurity and IT.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about cybersecurity or IT.
I can talk about cybersecurity and IT.
This is you guys. That is my profession. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Full Sail gives you a great foundation, right? It gives you the technical skills, but my advice is like, don't stop learning. You'll get in your field and realize there's so much to learn, so much to connect, and that's really how you stick out. Was that your question, to how to stick out?
Certificates or things.
Oh, certificates.
Or other certifications?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there, especially for, cybersecurity, tech.
Yeah.
I
So
know
for the
Full Sail has some.
cybersecurity and the IT programs, you will have 2 certificates in the associate, 2 certificates, especially for the cyber, 2 certificates in the cyber. So it's part of the program. As you're going through the program, you will have those CompTIA and AWS certifications. So if you're interested in that or interested in being part of the cybersecurity or the IT bachelor's, you will graduate with professional certifications as well. So for the web development, I think that was also another program that you were interested in. We don't have a professional certification for for that program. And then for what was the other program? Media communication. I have no idea. I don't oversee media communication. So okay, we have one. We're gonna take one last question here.
Hi. Oh my gosh, that's loud. I'm Ezekiel. I'm in the game development program. And hearing stories like what happened at Activision Blizzard, and also my mom is in tech and she tells me stuff sometimes. What are some things that we can do to make women feel more comfortable in tech?
Sorry, that was mumbled for me. Was it mumbled for you
Yeah,
guys?
same for me. I couldn't understand.
Sorry, yeah,
anything.
yeah. Pull it down. Yep.
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm in the game development program, and I was just wondering what men can do to make women feel more accepted in tech.
Thank you for asking that question. First of all, that is how the conversation starts. That's exactly how you can, I mean, for me, it's like just having other players willing to, understand that, there are biases that are in place that, that are barriers for us, and to recognize that and be advocates for us as well. That is my take on it.
So I have a story, so I'll try to make this as quickly as possible. So my inductor actually is here, and he was the first person that showed me what it was like to be, he's in the pink bandana. He was the first person to show me what it meant to be an ally. And what was going on is there was a person who was very creepy, and I, up until that point, I just was kind of like, okay, whatever, just do what I can to kind of make this guy stop talking to me kind of thing. And he actually basically rallied everyone else and was like, look, this guy is not okay. And he was able to make the case, and he got fired because he essentially was being inappropriate. So, doing stuff like that, if you can recognize that people are overstepping or talking over us or any of that stuff, and it's not just women, right? Like, it's anybody that's in a, what's it called? Minority group, or so as long as you can stand up and call people out, that is like the biggest thing that you could do. If someone's being kind of a jerk, you can be like, hey, you're being a jerk, and just being able to just say that, it lets all of us know that you're on our side, and we know that it's a safe place because of you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that story.
Thank you, everyone.
I love Jared. He's my man. Yep.
For me, so a little bit of that, and then for me, I have like a trick that I do when I notice people aren't talking or that they're keeping to themselves, and I like usually, so I'm on Zoom a lot, right? But I'll call them out by name and say, "What are your thoughts?" And then that gives them like I just don't like when people are quiet. I know they have opinions and they're in there, and like, give them to me, and maybe they think that like this is not the space or this isn't their lane when you're here, they're there. It absolutely is their lane. So like, and like noticing stuff like that, calling people out, asking, sharing their thoughts, it'll get everyone involved in the conversation. And hopefully, I feel like I've been in a lot of meetings where like dudes just talk to each other and I'm like, cool, why am I even here? Like that kind of vibe. Anyway.
Yeah, we're human beings. We just want to be treated as a human being.
Perfect. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your thoughts with us, your experience, your advice. Thank you all for coming today. Feel free, if I have another piece of advice, please, ladies here, don't be intimidated. Please reach out to anyone. Try to find a mentor to help you throughout your journey, and believe in yourself. And tech is not for men. You see all these amazing women here, so believe in yourself. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.